Joe and Nick for your weekend vacation. Grab your stool, squat on down for crappy animation. Let the gangsta commentary prop open your eyelids and watch some TV shows that have aged even worse than they did. So fill your bowls, use your spoons. It's Saturday morning cartoons.
Happy Saturday, everybody! Welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, where we watch forgettable, crazy, sometimes memorable cartoons from, I guess, from the 60s all the way up to the 90s. And I'm Nick. We got Joe over there, George, our VHS detective. And joining us is Mike Sachs, best-selling author, humorist, and all-around good guy. Hi, Mike.
Hi, this is great. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Are you wearing pajamas right now, or is that?
I'm wearing my I used to go to bed Porky Pig style, which was just a shirt and no underpants. That was my first marriage. My current marriage, I wear boxer shorts and a t-shirt, and this is one of them. I'll wear this every once in a while. Sid and Marty Krofft, they had an indoor amusement park in Atlanta from May 1976 for 6 months, and then it closed, and then it became a white elephant. They couldn't do anything with it. But I'll occasionally, if I want to get spicy with my wife, I'll wear a t-shirt like this. That just deliciously pop culture.
It's like lingerie. It looks like lingerie.
It really is.
Here.
It's a lot cheaper and a lot sexier.
Hey, this I've got the Sid and Marty Krofft amusement park shirt on. You know what that means.
This is my love language.
A lot of the times, I don't know if you're serious or not. But the Porky Pig thing, is that for real? Did you actually?
Yeah,
you would
that is
actually
for
be
real.
naked on the bottom and just a shirt on top. I'm a naked sleeper, so I don't like any clothes on me. But why the shirt? And then no. What's the reasoning behind that?
Great question.
I have OCD and I have a lot of issues, sensory issues, and one of them was I didn't like the cold air conditioning on my skin. So my bottom half was covered, but if my upper half wasn't covered, I would prefer a shirt. So that was the habit that I got into for the first wife. The current wife, I thought I'm gonna break that rule and I'm gonna go in a different direction here. So now I wear comfy boxers on my lower half and typically just a cheap t-shirt on my upper half.
Okay, so there's always something on the upper half, no matter what.
There's always something there, my friend. Always.
Okay. No further questions about what you wear to bed, unless George, you have anything. Nick, if you have anything.
No
now,
socks.
More clothes the better for me.
Socks?
No socks, but everything else I'm pretty. I do have something on top and bottom. Usually, it's the more Dickensian, the better for me in terms of pajamas.
I go to sleep in one sock, one glove, and that's it. So just to confuse an intruder.
All right.
Well, intruders are the scariest part of sleeping naked. But I feel like I might be able to use that to my advantage if they see a naked man, because I keep a machete underneath the bed. So
I remember. Yeah, we were roommates in college, and we'd have fire alarms, and Joe would be out there and just have to put on underwear quick, and we'd just be out on the quad with just in tighty whities. And,
I like if I haven't seen somebody from college in like 25 years, they'll be like, I remember one time you went out during a fire alarm. You would always go out in your underwear and the tighty whities, and that was kind of my thing.
Well, let's talk about
those fire alarms. They were always fake alarms, right? So you probably had plenty of time to get dressed, and you would always run into girls, or I would anyway. Yeah, and I would run into girls that I had a crush on, on the quad.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you didn't have time to even put on pants?
No, it was more for the bit. It was more for the bit.
I think he had time. Yeah,
I had plenty of time. Yeah,
just the lack of shame.
Right.
So much time.
And also Eau Claire is always cold too, and I was wearing tighty whities at that time in my life. And so, like, it probably wasn't impressive, like there wasn't like a big old package that I was showing off here. It was.
What was the epiphany that you changed over to boxers?
I think I saw some at TJ Maxx, and I was like, oh, what if I was a boxer guy? And then I never looked back after that. So
and you have TJ Maxx to thank for that.
Himself, not the store, himself.
Well, I wanted to have you on, Mike, because we're watching a cartoon from 1970 about Jerry Lewis. I have a feeling you'll have opinions about it, but let's watch a Jerry Lewis commercial because he did do a couple of them.
Here's Jerry Lewis with the 7-Eleven coffee song.
I want a cup of 7-Eleven coffee.
My coffee pot is fresh and hot. Pour it, drink it.
You will need it too.
This hot coffee is the special brew. That little cup will wake you up. It's good and hot. 7-Eleven coffee from the friendly coffee pot.
We got the Jerry Lewis face at the end, so yeah.
What was that? Was that 90s? Was he popular when that?
That was
commercial
1980. 1980.
Okay.
So,
All right, so there's a whole decade he doesn't remember, and I'm guessing that TV commercial was shot during that decade.
for 7-Eleven coffee, yeah. Probably not. Well, let's talk about, before we get into Jerry Lewis and our histories with Jerry Lewis, let's talk about what we're eating or drinking from today. Mike, why don't you start off? What do you have a mug with us?
Yeah, I'm not a collector of crazy mugs. I do have this one though. This one features my daughter, who she doesn't like posing for photos, and I always wanted her on a mug with her photo. And this one year, this is about 4 years ago, this was the best one, really the only choice, and she still looks like a lunatic. Very
She did not want to be photographed.
He did not want to be photographed. But
I'm reading that body language. Yeah.
But I just love it. It's basically like, I don't want to do this, but I'm doing it for Dad, and here it is.
It looks like a cast photo for an 80s comedy,
like Small Wonder or something.
Yeah. Like the kid who doesn't want to be in the picture, but
that's
has
her.
a sassy comeback.
Now, was there a special photo shoot for the mug photo, or was it just any photo that looked good?
No, she gets them every year, and they always turned out awful. And I said, you know what, this year just do it, just at least one shot. I want to put it on my mug that I can have coffee every morning, and that's what came up. And this is what is in the caption.
Great.
You can think about your daughter's resentment with every sip of coffee.
Well, I do anyway.
They had this Elvis mug at a vintage store, which I had to grab because we were in Nashville. But it does suffer from the too small handle for the bit thing. So you have to hold it like a teacup or something like this, but it's too heavy. So it's form over function with Elvis's guitar.
Also a tiny Elvis on there.
It's Rob Schneider as Tiny Elvis. Yeah.
Right.
Should we put together a coffee table book called Terrible Handles? And it's all terrible handles on coffee mugs. Because I think we come across a lot of those. And it's just the terrible handles. I think we're up to like 6 so far for the book, so let's keep adding. I'm in the Midwest right now, and I went to the thrift stores, find VHS tapes, and trying to buy VCRs too. I want to buy a bunch of those. But while I was there, I just took a look through their mug department, and I got this Las Vegas one. But look who it once belonged to. Louise. Ooh. This is formerly Louise's mug, and it's mine now. And I don't know, the disconcerting part of it is that I didn't wash the mug. I realized it when I took a swig that I didn't wash the mug first. I don't know if Salvation Army washes their mugs before they put them out on the floor.
Oh, they're immaculate about that.
Yeah.
Meticulous.
Yeah. So maybe I'm like kissing Louise right now. So
give it a quick tongue bath.
Around the rim.
Oh, I am. Yep.
George, what do you have? You're doing boring mugs, which is a separate coffee table book, I think. But
yes, I just got this at a thrift store about an hour ago. This is World's Greatest Dieter Award, or if it's in German, World's Greatest Dieter Award.
I like to think
the second vowel. But one, it's got the handles backward to me. I don't know if it is to anybody else.
It's forward for me because I'm a lefty, I think.
Okay, put it in the book. Put it in the
yours, but it says turning down chocolate can make you go berserk, but keep up your spirits. You're doing great work. And
well, here's the question:
mug.
Is it supposed to face out? So should others see what you're drinking, or should you see what you're drinking?
Well, that depends how ashamed you are.
I feel like it's supposed to phase out, but what I like about the Elvis mug is that it's both. So I think they cover.
You can't lose.
So if Louise is right-handed, Louise is looking at her own name.
Mhm.
while she's sipping, and
Well,
that's
she knows it's her mug and not some guy at the Salvation Army picking it
right,
up and
right.
licking it.
Yeah.
It's a good mug
Um,
question, though. I'm not sure the answer to that, Mike.
I
But
just want
I
to
don't
know backstories. I mean, what made Louise go to the Salvation Army and sell that mug?
my guess is death.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that's usually they die and then they end up there. So I
yeah.
don't see why Luis would be like, I don't like sipping coffee from this Las Vegas mug anymore. I'm tired of it. I
Send
think
it away.
Louise, yeah, I think Louise died, and then the grandchildren dropped it off at the Salvation
Well, it's
Army.
all hauled off to a dumpster. I've done that with my parents, and my daughter would do that with me. Have you? What do you guys?
Oh,
What are
yeah.
you going to do with your crap when you go?
It's not my problem. It's not my problem anymore. It's
That's
somebody
very
else's
magnanimous.
problem.
Yeah.
I'm putting mine in an arc to the afterlife.
Yeah.
I've spent my life carefully curating my artifacts. I think they're just all going to get incinerated at the end. It's a little bit heartbreaking, but
I think you should be buried with them, Nick. Right? Get your
oh, like
will.
Todd.
That would
Yeah.
be a great segment on VCR Party. Let's get your will in order. Like
Okay.
let's have a legal, like a will lawyer
All
come
right.
on, and then we'll
Yeah.
get your
Find out
that's
who's
gonna
going to be
fun.
burdened with my collections. Great.
No, I think you should be buried in a huge coffin with all of your elf shit.
Okay. Well, I don't have enough money to pay my rent right now, so I'm wondering where that trust is going to come from for all that. So, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
As long as we get content out of it. All right. Well, Jerry Lewis had a cartoon, and I guess to know that more about Jerry Lewis, you have to know about the man himself. So Jerry Lewis is from the New Jersey, Connecticut area, and he was nicknamed the King of Comedy because he appeared in, I think, 60 different movies, and the first 16 of them were with this guy right here, Dean Martin, who was the straight man to Jerry's wacky antics. And he did a lot of characters, but the one that I guess I fell in love with as a kid was the sort of Nutty Professor character because it's the broadest. Did you guys watch these early Jerry Lewis movies at all?
Loved them.
Same.
I think I've just seen what's the Nutty Professor? I think Nutty Professor is the only one that I've seen. Yeah.
There was
And I
like
loved it.
Cinderfella, and there
I
was
love
a
all
bunch.
of those.
Yeah, we're gonna play a game later based on some of these movies. But Lewis and Martin became so popular, and Jerry Lewis himself. They had puppets. This is at the Museum of the Moving Image in my neck of the woods in Queens. They have the Nutty Professor character. Then there's Dean, and then there's straight Jerry on the right. These terrible hand puppets. I want them all. But they also had comics, the Jerry Lewis comics. These were DC comics. And yes, George, before you ask, there was a Batman crossover.
Batman was just a whore. Batman would just team up with anybody.
Well, there was a Superman Jerry Lewis comic crossover too. I think that was
He was a
just-
whore
yeah.
too.
Well, there was a Don Rickles also
Oh,
appeared
right.
in the early 70s with Superman and the Newsboy Legion. So, just
and then there was a movie from 1965 called The Family Jewels where Jerry did 7 nutty characters in it. He was kind of like the Peter Sellers. And only one of them was racist, I think. There was a Chinese character that was not great, but they based the cartoon on some of the characters from this that would be in other movies after it. So here's just one clip of probably his most famous character from the movie The Family Jewels.
Oh, 1,600 feet is 9F63.
Photographer.
That's... Well, it'll work out fine. Maybe a little hot, but they'll process it.
Okay, so you got a little bit of the mugging, the voice, the facial
Teeth.
expressions, the slapstick. And then when Filmation decides to make a cartoon based on him in 1970, they based it on, at least the title was a play on the line from To Tell the Truth. Do you remember this game show? Have you guys ever seen it?
I've seen clips. Yeah.
It was revived. I think it's a great premise where 3 people come out, they pretend to be a person and answer questions from the celebrity panel. And then at the end, they say this. This is the episode with Dr. Seuss on it.
So will the real Ted Geisel please stand up?
Geritol.
Yeah, so they called the real Jerry Lewis, Please Sit Down as a play on that. And The only thing is, like a lot of cartoons featuring celebrities at the time, they couldn't get Jerry Lewis to be very involved in it. He did not do the voice, and I think he was a consultant on scripts, but other than that, had no involvement. So, does anybody want to take a stab at who did the voice of Jerry Lewis?
Frank Welker.
No?
But I think that's incorrect. I think he felt that this guy could do a better young, so he chose him.
Okay. Interesting. Well, and it was another sitcom actor, David Lander, who played Squiggy, who does Jerry Lewis in this. And there's a loose plot where he works on, he works at an employment agency, and there's a few regular recurring characters, but it's basically an excuse for Jerry to get into some wacky antics and physical shtick. And I have to say, I don't mind the animation in it. So we're going to watch it. Yeah.
Is Frank Welker.jpg in this cartoon
He
at
is
all?
not, because 1970, I think Welker was not really in his heyday of the 80s yet. So, but I think David Lander does a lot of the heavy lifting here.
It's Squiggy, right?
Yeah, that's Squiggy. Yep.
Yeah. He has a good squeaky voice. Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we'll watch a few minutes of the cartoon. I'll be curious what you guys think of Will the Real Jerry Lewis Please Sit Down?
There goes Jerry Lewis, but he's right over here. Well, which one is he really?
I like the song.
It's not very clear.
To the audience laughing.
Everywhere, up the street, down the stairs, running, jumping.
I did not include an episode that focused on the character wearing a karate gi, because you can only imagine what that was.
Laughing, laughing, singing, then he's hiding. Was he, is he in a tizzy? Something's cooking, is he busy? Coming, going, yes and no. Kitchen sink is overflowing. Going around, revolving doors in the local dinosaurs. Getting wet, in a jet, dancing to the castanets. Look around for a spot. There he goes, private. It's so confusing.
Oh, great song.
Will the real Jerry Lewis please sit down?
What, Joe?
This is the first time I've ever seen an intro theme with the studio audience laughing during the opening.
That's true.
During the opening, they usually don't allow the studio audience in there for that part.
I feel like this era of cartoons did have laugh tracks. The Gilligan's Planet did, and
my friend Ben Glenn II is an expert on canned laughter, and I actually emailed him this afternoon to ask him about this because I'm obsessed with canned laughter for animation.
Yeah,
and he said that this was a Filmation produced series. Now, Filmation was the first studio, he said, to use a laugh track on Saturday morning cartoons, beginning with the Archie Show in 1968. He also went on to say that the laughs, this was 1970, it came from mostly two shows, and it was the Red Skeleton Show and the Lucy Show, primarily 1950s and 1960s laughs. So the people you hear laughing, those laughs are about 20 years old at this point.
Wow. Okay. So, but now, did you talk to your friend about why they did it? Was it because the show wasn't that funny and they needed to boost the laughs to make people think it was funnier? Or were there any studies that showed that it helped?
Well, that's a great question. I didn't ask him that, but didn't the Flintstones use a laugh track?
I think so.
Yeah.
That, even as a kid, it fascinated me. Where is the audience for these animated characters? And are they imaginary?
I always pictured an audience watching a projected. I always picture them sitting on bleacher seats and watching a projected image. That's how I've always pictured it.
But they all came from the very reclusive Charles Douglas, who there should be a movie made about this guy. He was the inventor of this, and he never did an interview. Now his son is in charge of Northridge Electronics, which is what Charles's father started, and he too is reclusive. So it's almost like a very Willy Wonka reclusive type of world.
So that was the laugh track empire, basically. Both
Charles
of those guys?
Douglas. That's right.
Oh,
and my friend is such an expert that if you just play him a soundtrack track from any sitcom from the 50s through the 70s. He can tell you within 5 years when that sitcom came out.
Well,
I
my
remember-
brothers and I would watch Brady Bunch all the time, and we would always hear one distinctive laugh in there that was like this, like it was like this distinctive laugh, and we're like, "Oh, that guy found it funny." Yeah,
Right.
Same in
and-
I Love Lucy. Yeah, you'd always
That's
hear
right.
the same.
Exactly.
laugher.
It was what, and the rumor was that laugh was relation to Lucille Ball.
Mm. That
Oh,
the
that she
person
would-
laughing, or
The person laughing was related to Lucille Ball. That was the rumor.
they got to have.
I
their
actually
moment in
wanted to
the sun.
write a book about this guy, Charles Douglas, but you cannot get through to any because it's industry secret. So he would operate this machine
Oh.
like a piano, and he was the best of the best. And he taught his son how to do it, and his son now is in charge of it. But I just find the whole world absolutely fascinating. It's such an
It's a
American
science.
thing.
Yeah.
There was a
And when
great
you watch
sketch
an
about
award
it.
show, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So I was just going to say there was a really good sketch about that on the Tracy Ullman show, where there was somebody, there was like an argument between a sitcom actor and a producer, and I believe the producer started pressing the buttons for it to get the right reactions from the crowd to make the sitcom actor have the right
Oh, that's perfect.
reactions. It was very memorable. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, A Face in the Crowd, the movie uses that to a great effect, where Andy Griffith plays it for himself when he has no one else to listen to him rage.
Yeah. There is something to maybe a fictionalized version of the story of the laugh track. That way there's no life rights, but I'd be fascinated by it.
I would too. Yeah.
I
So
think
let's-
you need to do investigative journalism here. I think you need to go undercover. I think you should shift gears. You've never done anything like this before. This would be good for you.
But the thing is, it's still everything is sweetened. Award shows, my friend tells me, are sweetened. The Super Bowl is sweetened. When you watch baseball games, it's sweetened. So everything, now maybe not everything, but most of what we watch now are still sweetened with, if not laughter, then applause and crowd noise.
They say
need that
Seattle
for this show.
Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, I think, would add noise to the stadium as an
Right, because
advantage.
when you go to a game, it's a lot quieter than it is watching there's no lulls when you watch
Yeah.
from home.
Well, the point is, when we're listening to these laughs, the people laughing are long dead. So let's hear them.
That's the point.
Gosh, Mr. Blunderpuss, do you really think I stand a chance to win the Miss Employment Agency beauty contest?
Why worry about it? If you win, Odd Job will get $1 million worth of publicity. And if you lose, well, there are plenty of other jobs you can get.
Oh.
Is he the good guy or bad guy?
You're talking about Mr. Blunderpuss? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about Mr. Blunderpuss.
Yeah, he's the classic cartoon boss. I love him.
Lewis! I might have known.
Not a bad caricature.
I'm sorry, Mr. Blunderpuss, but someone took my bicycle, and I don't stop so good on skates.
You hear Squiggy in there?
You stop
Yeah,
better
but it's
on
good.
People. Lewis, I'd fire you this instant if it weren't for Rhonda.
Rhonda,
Yes, I'll need you to look after things while she's gone.
gone?
She's going to Atlantic City to represent our agency.
Too much
in a beauty
exposition.
contest.
Isn't
Get
it
to the
exciting?
slapstick.
This could be the start of a
Oh, I cut
whole
down
new
too much
career
for
for me.
New career?
I might end up in Hollywood, dating all those handsome movie actors.
Kind of horrifying.
What's that noise?
It really
Sounded
is.
like something breaking.
That's our
Never
thumbnail there,
the
too, by the
idea.
way.
Cross
yeah.
my heart.
I don't picture Jerry as a sexual creature.
Rhonda will probably
No.
See, that's where we differ.
and go to Hollywood, and I'll never see her again. And just when I was going to ask her out for our first date, oh, it's just not fair. You're right, pal. There just ain't no justice. I'll say. You don't have to. I just said it for you. Who are you? It's me, you meathead. You got a memory like a sieve. God.
I should mention I cut out a cold open where there's a duplicating machine that creates multiple, a double of Jerry Lewis. So
Oh, they
that's,
totally copied Family Matters with the Urkelbot 2000.
well, there is,
totally
there
copied.
actually is a machine that duplicates him. So yeah, it is. There's some shared DNA there.
I'd love to know what Jerry Lewis thinks of like Urkel. Mike, maybe you know. Was he ever interviewed about Urkel? Because I feel like Urkel
No.
is like directly Jerry Lewis.
That's a really good question. I know that he was furious that he wasn't asked to be in the Eddie Murphy version of the remake of the Nutty Professor, but I don't know anything about Urkel. But that's a good question. I always wondered what he thought of Sam Petrello, which I never. Do you know Sam
Who's
Petrello?
No.
No,
He's a Jerry Lewis impersonator. He starred in a movie, the Gorilla in Brooklyn, and that has to be the subject of another episode. Who he looked just like him, and he made his career out of imitating Jerry Lewis.
Oh.
I'm guessing he wasn't a fan. He seems like he was angry about a lot of things later in life. Women in comedy, all host of things. So
He was a horrible person. He used to videotape his children in their bedrooms just to keep an eye on them. Just a very controlling person. Gary Lewis has talked about this. Gary Lewis and the Playboys. He was a sociopath. He was an insane person.
Is Gary Lewis
sound
related to him?
Yeah, the son. Gary
Oh, it's
Lewis
his
is
son.
Jerry Lewis's son. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
well, let's get back to the laughs with
The dead laughs.
in animated form.
My duplicate. It's a lucky thing I dropped by to look after you. You really dig this Rhonda chick, huh? Well, more than anything in the world. Just leave everything to me. Gosh, this is awful nice of you. I ain't doing this for you, dum-dum. I'm doing it for me. You're ruining my image. Now, where's this boss of yours?
Oh, wait a minute. You mustn't barge in on him like that.
Oh, no? Watch this.
This is kind of Nutty
Dear
Professor
sir,
esque because he's doing the
regarding your
suave
letter of the
character.
14th,
Knock off the correspondence, Tubby. You and me have got some words.
Lois, what's the meaning of this?
The meaning, Fatso, is that I'm going to
What's the
Atlantic
meaning
City
of
with
this?
Rhonda.
What?
Classic.
What's the matter, fatty? Your ears stopped up? Here, this'll fix 'em. A chick like Rhonda's much too cute to be running around loose in a strange city.
Oh, why, thank you, Jerry.
Now see here,
I like
Lois.
the bad boys.
You see here, Chubby.
We got it. What's the
Either I
meaning
go
of this
along
and
as
the
a
now
chaperone
see
or
here?
Rhonda quits.
Classic
Right, baby?
That's right, Mr. Blunderbuss.
Now, Rhonda, let's not do anything hasty.
It's safe to come out now, Chicken Little. It's all settled.
What's settled?
You'll see.
I mean, I don't know how much Lander is getting paid, but he's really working
Lois,
overtime. And
I've got something to say to you.
Yes, Mr. Blunderbuss?
I never realized you could be so forceful and dynamic. By George, you are a born executive. A true executive can grab a nap anywhere.
part
So
one
that's a
of,
temp agency office. That is the biggest temp agency office I've ever.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
that wide shot where you see it's got Mr.
It's a
Burns'
mansion.
desk. Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't
They're
the
doing
temp
all right.
agency I went to after college.
No,
When I
nor
no,
mine.
that's not the one I went to. Yeah.
Thoughts so far on the cartoon?
So good.
I love this animation. I have to
Yeah.
say, I really do.
It's not bad. The drawings are good. Yeah.
And it's so of its time, and it's just great. I mean, I love this era of animation.
We got to watch
Well-
more of these from this era with the laugh track era, we should call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my thought. We hadn't done a like late 60s, early 70s one for a while. So, yeah. Well, we're going to watch the second half where they're in Atlantic City for the beauty contest and hijinks ensue. But we got some commercials to watch first.
Saturday morning cartoons will be right back. These are 5 commercials that span roughly 10 years that show Jerry Lewis at his zaniest and his most semi-serious when relating to the MDA telethon. It's great stuff.
The evil Baron has lured another victim to his lair to play his new game, Spellbound. Spellbound. It's frustrating for slow spellers, but fun for fast spellers.
F-A. Look at how huge that is.
Just a game.
Remember now, the Baron
How many
cannot
D
bear to
batteries did that
lose.
take?
Spellbound. Another Jerry Lewis game
I want
from
this
Hasbro.
game. Wait, another Jerry Lewis game?
Yeah, what was
Yeah,
that?
that's a big question. I can only find. I've not found others yet.
Wow, I
the
want to
search
get all
goes
the
on.
Jerry Lewis games.
And remember,
All right.
Hickory Farms. This is
Okay.
not vegan. Just warning.
Okay.
Keep up the fight
Nick,
against muscular
avert your
dystrophy.
eyes, Nick.
Now through September the 5th, for every pound of beef stick sold, Hickory
I remember
Farms will
this one.
contribute 20 cents to my kids. And on top of that, buy a cut piece for 30 cents off the pound price. Or if you buy the whole stick, they'll give you the usual 20 cents a pound additional discount. That's terrific. You save 50 cents. My kids get 20 cents and you're eating delicious. Terrific. Oh, I love it.
God, him holding the salami schlub with his pinky ring is just.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I just found there are other Jerry Lewis games like High Stakes and from
Oh.
Hasbro and others, and that one is huge too.
Okay.
Because I know someone
Never
in the
heard of
comment
them.
section is yelling, trying to placate them.
It's the Jerry Lewis Extra Special Special.
Forget the dishes, Mother. The telethon is on.
It's an extra special special.
Don't turn in. Tune in, Jerry. Labor Day weekend from Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Broadway, Nashville, Hollywood, and from...
Looked like they would hurt.
Tonight.
Oh, WGN. Oh,
Would that caricature be a good tattoo?
Yes.
Yes.
man, this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh, mine too.
This is
And
like
Joker
top
is
5.
basically this movie.
Yeah.
So ahead of its time.
Yeah.
So prescient.
The King of Comedy. It's no laughing matter.
Love that movie.
Oh yeah.
And
Robert
he's
De Niro.
great in it.
Robert De Niro just makes you
The
cringe.
name's Randy.
Oh.
This
Yeah.
is my partner, Raul. We're the Refreshers. We went to see refreshment guru, Dr. Frank Peterson.
In my opinion, colas with more sugar provide less refreshment. I tried them all. As sugar goes down, refreshment goes up. Notice the up and down differential? That's why Coca-Cola goes better with food.
Is this
Only
90s?
Coca-Cola can do this, hell the world.
I don't think Jerry's aware that he's being videotaped at this point. He's just shot in his basement.
Apparently, that
So
was
Valen's
directed
footage.
by John Landis. who,
John Landis directed that?
Yeah,
Well,
but
the
this was
post-accident.
post, yeah.
Oh, I see. When he
Post
was black.
decapitation. Yeah.
Right.
Putting.
I think 2 people died in that commercial. Also.
Who were the
so-
2 cool guys in the car? Were they anybody, or were they just Are they
I'm
just
sure
nobody?
Their family loves them, but I don't know. Who they
Okay.
are.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah. All right.
So no advertisements for the Jerry Lewis theaters, I imagine.
I didn't see any. I also did not put in. I was going to put in the commercial for Hardly Working, the only Jerry Lewis movie I've ever seen.
I
but
have a
it
story
has-
about that.
it was the first time I went to somebody's house when they got cable. It was to stay up late to watch Hardly Working in like 1980.
I haven't seen it. What's your story?
Oh my God. Well, it's not a funny story. It's a sad story. And I never told it before, but I suffer from terrible depression. The first time I can remember feeling incredibly depressed, it sounds like a bit, but it's not. There was a Jerry Lewis theater near where I grew up in Maryland. And I went to see dropped off during a matinee with my brother. I was very young. And I just remember feeling like I want to see a comedy because I loved comedy. My memory is walking out into the blazing heat of a Maryland summer, drenched with sweat and terribly depressed. I have an image of me holding my brother's hand as my mom came to pick us up, and I was crying. And I remember her asking why I was crying, and I couldn't really explain it at the time, but it was the first major depression episode I can remember is going to see a Jerry Lewis comedy from the 80s.
It was bad.
Yeah, the 80s era. Yeah.
Oh,
And he doesn't remember making this movie. He was on back pain medication, he said. So this entirety, he shot it down in southern Florida near where he was living at the time. And it looks like just some guy went out with an early VCR, the VHS camera, and shot it in some suburb. But it's a notoriously awful film. It's known among comedy writers as being just one of the most depressing comedy movies to ever see.
Oh,
George, did you find that during your staying up late?
So I was like 6, and it was the first time I'd ever seen a racist caricature of an Asian person, and I was very confused. And you know what? It was in the commercial, which is why I didn't include it. And I would say while watching the commercial just now, I was still confused as to
hard to avoid it in that era. You got Mickey Rooney had whole albums based
that was
on
like
his
20 years before this. I can't believe it was
that's
like
true.
80,
yeah,
something
that's true. This was 80s, yeah.
Well, he was doing Asian impressions into the 90s. I have an audio clip of him being interviewed by Gene Shalit for a morning TV show, and the phone rings in the suite where he's being interviewed, and Jerry launches into an improvisational bit that begins with an Asian character and ends with him slamming the phone down and saying Jew hater. Jew hater was a big phrase of Jerry's. He would use it to end anything that wasn't going well in an improvisational way. He would end it with Jew hater.
Well, could you excuse us because we're really in an interview now. We can't be bothered with your goddamn calls now.
Jew hater.
Or he would say, and I wanted to put together a string of audio of this, of him saying, and so did Hitler. He would end a lot of statements, and so did Hitler.
Well, we'll have to end this show that way.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so I made a mistake.
So did Hitler.
Now back to Saturday morning cartoons.
Here we are, baby.
I hope the judging hasn't begun.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the announcement of the 3 finalists in the Miss Employment Agency contest. And here they are.
It's kind of funny. The Miss Employment Agency contest.
Oh,
okay.
Miss Acme. And last but not least, Miss Odd Job.
Miss Odd Job? That's me.
Oh, yeah? Then who's that?
So the wacky Jerry is dressed.
I should have practiced walking on these high heels.
It's Jerry.
Naturally, who else is such a klutz?
Wait a minute. If he's Jerry, who are you?
Let's just say I'm an unreasonable facsimile.
Then there are 2 of you?
That's right. We're a regular Jerkle and Hyde.
It's a guy.
Jerkle and Hyde.
Wow, what a story this is gonna make.
I can see the headlines now.
Hoax revealed. Beauty queen turns
they
out
could have done
to
better.
be clown
Slow news
prince.
day. Hoax
Lord,
revealed.
thanks to you, I'm the laughing stock of the industry. You're through, finished, washed up.
Whatever you say, sir.
Wait, Mr. Blunderpuss. You're making a mistake. This is the real culprit.
Here, Tubby. Thanks for the use of the wheels.
There are 2 of them.
Exactly.
I'm
This
seeing
one is
double.
really a
4
duplicate.
Krusties?
Yeah, he won't go back from once where he came from to there, here. Don't worry, pal. I've had it with this scene. A goody two-shoes like you could destroy my image. So long,
Look, there's the
suckers.
transmogrifier from the Urkel.
Yep.
He's gone.
Golly, what a relief.
I'll say, now I only have to fire one of
I wonder
you.
if Miller Boy had just watched these old cartoons and was like, let's do that for an episode.
Yeah, I think any wacky sitcom character owes a lot to Jerry Lewis.
Well, Mr. Blunderbush, we're from News Time magazine. We want to do a cover story on your agency.
Entering that guy in the beauty contest was a great publicity stunt.
Actually, that was Lewis's idea. Oh, that was absolutely brilliant. Yes, sir, I wish I had a dozen like him.
Mr. Blunderpuss, I think you're gonna get your wish. hiya fatso, 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 hiya fatso.
Easy to animate.
Hiya fatso, hiya fatso.
Oh, no. Oh.
There goes Jerry Lewis. But he's right over here.
Solid song. I like how it
Yeah.
speeds up.
I like the bubble.
Look at all those writers.
Nick's
How
right.
many writers do they need?
That's
11
what-
writers wrote that episode.
Jerry Lewis, please sit down.
That's what really interests me. The journeyman writers who end up writing this. I was looking them up. One co-wrote Yellow Submarine. A lot of them were animated specialists. They wrote for, and then later Richie Rich animated. But for all those type of animated shows, they use the same 10, 15 people.
Yeah. I have a theory about them too. I feel like they didn't, like somebody wrote it and then that was the script. Maybe they made a few revisions, but it just always feels like several hands weren't involved. It's just like this is the script.
There's a lot of
and
oversight.
here it is.
Yeah.
No,
Especially in the 80s ones. I mean, there was only 18 episodes of this, but in the 80s, a season would be like 68 episodes. You know, so there's just no way you can have that much scrutiny about them. So I have a game to play based on Jerry Lewis movies. Like I said, he made 59 movies, including 18 with Dean Martin. Most of them had the title The Something, like, for example, The Nutty Professor. So we're going to play a game. It's called Will the Fake Jerry Lewis Movie Please Sit Down? So I'm going to give you 4 movies. You tell me which one is the fake one. Just shout them out as soon as you have made a determination. So this first one, we got A, the Scapegoat, B, the Patsy, C, the Stooge, or D, the Big Mouth. What do you think?
C, the Stooge.
Yeah, you're saying
I'd
this,
say-
okay, that was very quick.
I'd say the Scapegoat.
I'll say
Okay,
the Big
Joe, what do you
Mouth.
think? Okay, let's take a look. We got the Patsy, the Stooge, and the Big Mouth are real, meaning that, Mike, you were right. The Scapegoat is the fake Jerry Lewis movie. Well done, Mike's on
It's
the
a
board.
little
with one
too
point.
on the nose.
Yeah.
I just
Yes.
figured the Stooges would make people think of
The
other
Three
famous
Stooges?
Stooges. Yes,
Yep. I thought that might throw some people off.
it did.
By some people, I mean Joe, George, and Mike.
Yep.
All right, we got 2 more. This one is the Delicate Delinquent, the Daffy Driver, the Disorderly Orderly, or the Geisha Boy.
I'm going to say the Geisha Boy because I hope that's not the actual. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to let the Geisha Boy.
I'll say.
I'd go with the Daffy Driver. I've never heard
I
of that.
also would say the Daffy Driver.
Okay, let's take a look. The Delicate Delinquent, the Disorderly Orderly, and the Geisha Boy are all real movies. Unfortunately, on the latter. So that means that George and Mike are right that the Daffy Driver is the fake one.
Did you come
okay,
up with these fake titles?
Yes.
Perfect.
Hit AI do it.
Yeah. All right. We got this last one. The bellboy, the waiter, the caddy, or the errand boy? What's the fake one?
I'm going to say Errand Boy.
Okay.
Say the caddy.
Okay. Mike?
I'd say the waiter. I never heard of it.
Okay, let's take a look. The bellboy, the caddy, and the errand boy are all real, which means that the waiter, although
Wow.
it seems like an occupation that he would do. So, Mike, 3 for 3 on this.
Wow.
Mike, I think this is the game you were born to play.
Oh my God! Well, I was born to do something. I wasn't just not wearing shorts to bed. So this is nice to see. I would love to do a marathon with you guys of 80s Jerry Lewis movies. If you guys were up for that, how great would that be?
For
the depressing
sure.
era. Let's do a Twitch stream. By the way, Joe, you mentioned that we had a celebrities at their worst. Although this might be celebrities at their best. There were like outtakes of like Tommy Lasorda and people like that. And there's a famous
John
Jerry
Wayne.
Lewis one.
John Wayne doing the "We're goddamn ridiculous" line.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so
It's
much
a great
good stuff.
double CD set that I think I got at Kim's Video back in the day. But
Yeah.
so this one, there was a Jerry Lewis one where he and Dean Martin are doing a radio ad for the caddy, which was in this last question here. I thought I'd just play a little bit of it.
Is that all right, you cocksucker?
How was that, you shitheel?
Without reading it? We're sensational. Take my word for it. Come on and join the fun. See Paramount's The Caddy. It'll make you shit.
Oh, he's right, folks. Come on and join the fun in the most wonderful 90 minutes of howls and gags you ever saw.
We'll be seeing you in Paramount's The Caddy.
Yep, The Caddy.
With a big cock on it.
And then, yeah, of course, we got to talk about his legacy. The MDA telethon, regardless of what he did help a lot of people with muscular dystrophy. And there are many memorable moments. This is a Boogaloo Shrimp from Breakin' 1 and Breakin' 2 with Jerry Lewis. The physical comedy.
Oh, yeah, the Breakin'.
I was fooling. It was just a joke. It was a gag.
So yeah, and then of course we talked about King of Comedy, which is still being referenced, like the Joker, and then the new Joker's coming out, and it was all just clearly referencing this movie. Very influential, and he plays a great version of himself basically in the movie. I believe he was asked to be a talk show host at one point, turned it down, but
well, no, he had a late night show in the 60s. It was a disaster.
Did he? I didn't even realize he had one.
Well, he may have had more than one. I think there was one later in the 80s. Yeah, he tried his hand at it and it did not work.
See, some people, they just can't do it. Like we're this week we're watching the Chevy Chase show for our EPs for our Patreon show. Are you familiar with the Chevy Chase show?
Well, yeah, I think I was telling you last time. There's the entire first episode with Goldie Hawn is on one of those tapes that I dropped off with you guys.
Yes,
that's right.
Yep.
That's right. We did talk to you about that.
Yep.
Yeah. So some actors just can't turn that, like comedic actors too, where
It's
it
hard.
seems like they'd be
Even
good at
John
it.
Mulaney is he's doing his thing, but it takes a while to get up to speed, I think. And then of course his legacy lives on The Simpsons with Professor Frank.
The colors, children.
And then we got to talk about The Day the Clown Cried, because next month it's supposed to be officially released. So this is the notorious 1972 movie based on a clown in a concentration camp. Not based on, I mean, that's what it's about. A clown who's in a concentration camp during the Holocaust. And it's a serious movie that was never finished. Financing fell through, and it's just been this legendary. People have talked about seeing cuts of it. And when Jerry died, he put it in the Library of Congress, the version that's in there. And apparently Jerry's heirs have said it's never going to be released on home video, but June 2024 is when it officially is available to screen, maybe at like museums and things like that. So next month we may be able to see this, the as close to a finished version as you can see of The Day the Clown Cried.
Oh man,
Is there
I wonder
a
if there's going
cartoon
to be
adaptation.
There will be an animated version.
Okay.
Yeah,
How about the novelization?
that's one you got to track
we're
down.
putting you on that one. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I
so
wonder if
Bruce
this is gonna-
Handy, a friend of mine, wrote a classic piece for Spy Magazine. Have you read that? Where he interviewed Harry Shearer, who compared it to a velvet painting of Auschwitz.
No, but I have heard that Harry Shearer has seen it and he's talked about it in interviews.
He has. Yeah, it's.
I
You should
can't wait.
check out this article. If you guys go and see it, I don't care where it is. I will travel with you to go see this movie wherever it is.
Yeah,
Exactly. I've heard maybe in LA it's going to screen, or at AFI or something. So let's go see it wherever it is, because I'm just curious.
There's no way it could disappoint, right? I mean, like.
No, there's no way it won't disappoint. That's what I'm excited about. It's
well, that's what I mean. Like, well,
yeah.
I guess it depends on what disappointment means.
Your point of view, yeah.
Yeah.
There is
but
some footage out there that doesn't have sound. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
And it's just horrific.
This episode of Saturday Morning Cartoons has had it all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what have we learned, George? What have we learned? Tell us.
Well, looking back on his life and work, how are we to judge Jerry Lewis, the comedian, and Jerry Lewis, the man? Although Lewis's Nickelodeon-level antics, coupled with his racist caricatures and misogynistic leanings, threatened to push his career over the cultural event horizon, his theatrical oeuvre was thrown a lifeline by new wave filmmakers of Europe. In France, in particular, his buffoonery sailed across the Maginot line of comedy, and directors lionized his auteur experimentation. To quote Orson Welles, "Ah, the French." But just as Welles fatally overindulged in spirits and comestibles, Lewis continued to gorge himself on pratfalls and marble-mouthed mayhem. However, all sins appear to have been forgiven at death, and since he's been gone for 7 years, you may think this argument is a straw man, but I prefer to think of it more as a, "Hey, lady!" And that's why I always say, the more you battle is twice the knowing.
And so did Hitler.
Yes.
You gotta find that.
Yes.
So did Hitler.
But Mike, you have interviewed comedians, and with good interviews with legends, and your book out in a brand new edition, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. How's it doing?
Thank you. I think it's doing really well. Thank you for. I didn't even imagine you would mention it again, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It has new material. It originally came out in 2009. My daughter had just been born. She's now 15. But the publisher didn't want it as big as I wanted it. So they cut it down, and it's now the size that I want it, nice and thick, just packed with pop culture effluvia.
Yeah, I still have to pick it up, and the first one I tore through. I told you on VCR Party, I love that book, but I'm excited for the new one because there are a bunch of more interviews that you didn't include in the first one. Then
no, there's no new interviews. The interviews that didn't make the book made the second book, Poking a Dead Frog, but there is extra material with most of the interviews.
Oh, okay,
it was cut. So each of the interviews now are long or almost Playboy interview length, which was what I was going for.
And I got a copy for my dad for Father's Day. It's a good Father's Day book, I think. So.
I love your parents. I genuinely love them. I really do.
Well, they comment on everything you post on Facebook, so there's no avoiding them now, Mike. I'm very sorry.
I love them. No,
you fed a stray cat milk, is what you did.
Unfortunately, yeah.
They're the best.
Don't encourage them, Mike. Well, thanks for joining us with this dark history of Jerry Lewis.
That was a fun one.
I loved it.
Yeah.
This was fantastic. Anytime, you guys. I love this podcast. Love being on it. Thank you.
Let's end on a happy Saturday and a Jerry Lewis noise of some sort. So,
Okay.
All right, happy Saturday,
everybody.
Bye.
Cartoons in the drinking.